Hello, everyone. I'm Vinicius Neris. I'm the host today of the InEvent Talks. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. If you don't know InEvent Talks, it's an original series of InEvent for InEvent that we interview great people from the events industry, also marketing leaders and leadership from different industries and topics to bring you the best insights, best knowledge to make great decisions. Today, it's a pleasure to have Laura Harwell with me. She's an expert and event strategist who is passionate about connecting people through travel, food experiences, and event design and production. Recently, also, Lauren got this great innovative award from Smart Meetings. That is a male leadership group in the whole country. And she's probably very proud of this award, right? Thank you so much, Laura.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So today we usually do this in New York. We only have it in New York, but today we came to Las Vegas. How is it for you to be in the city, to live in the city where so many events happening? Is it probably very easy for you, right? Just work here.
It is. It's one of the best cities I would have to say to live in, even though I grew up in Colorado, so I have to pay homage to my Colorado roots. But Vegas is the hustle and bustle of the city. There is nothing like it. And like we were just talking about before, is everyone has this misconception that Las Vegans live on the strip and are like in the club till 2 a.m. It's so the opposite for us. We actually kind of avoid the strip usually. And we have such great outlying resources and communities outside of the strip. While we all love it, we work here, a lot of us. It is kind of nice to have a reprieve where you have wonderful things that live outside the strip here. So lots of opportunity to do outdoor experiences, hiking, biking, and then really fun, unique community culture.
Nice. And also talking about your company, Prince Events, right? That you work with great customers such as Wells Fargo, Google, Microsoft, Costco, Walmart. How was your path to getting into this company and also your path to get into the events industry?
So I actually graduated college in Colorado at Fort Collins at Colorado State University. Go Rams!
How's Martin Madness?
Yeah, I know, like crazy. I graduated with a technical journalism degree, actually, because at the time when I went to college, they told you could do maybe like 5 things. They're like, you can be a doctor, you can be a teacher, you can be a nurse, and you can do a couple other things in the professions. But there was never any hospitality degree for me. So I chose kind of the next best route, and I love writing. I actually wanted to be a travel blogger, travel writer before influencers came about. So I was the original influencer that just never quite made. But that was
You started your own blog? You still
I did. I started a blog long ago. Please don't go look for it. I'm not quite sure what's on it anymore. It was about snowboarding. Very exciting. That was one of my college classes, was to create your own blog. So I learned technical writing and journalism and kind of emphasized in public relations because I just thought it was very interesting how companies represented themselves in branding. And I really liked to throw parties. And so I graduated at a really rough time when the economic downturn happened. So I was lucky to get a part-time job at that point for a nonprofit. And I worked for the American Liver Foundation, was my first real girl job, which I loved. Worked in a tiny house with two other really fabulous women who gave me my start in the events world. And nonprofit teaches you everything about being responsible for literally everything with not a lot of background. So I did walks and I did a culinary event, and it was a really cool experience and a really good way to get my feet into events. Fast forward through, 10 different jobs probably. After that, between restaurants, between being a venue manager, getting the theatrical experience under City AB, going to a golf course, and then landing at Four Seasons. I worked for Four Seasons for the last 6 years before I came to InPrint Events, and then was recruited out of Four Seasons by the owners of InPrint Events with a all-famous mature 5-year plan. And I just said, I don't really know because I don't know where my growth is. And they said, come to us and let us grow you. And here I am 6 years later, going from business development person up to the general manager of the Las Vegas division. And now I just got promoted to the vice president of accounts. So it's really cool.
That's so exciting.
It's a fun journey.
What else is coming up next? Like, there another big dream for your career?
I mean, I think my dream now is to take the success of where I've gotten and to grow others, right? I think what's so rewarding to me now is to help people in the industry find that path and find that passion and grow that for others around me.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the challenges of the industry is to find new talent. This is across all industries, right?
Yeah.
But maybe in the event industry even more, because first we got just this peak of events coming up, and you need to find good people, right?
Yes.
How is it for you? Like, you really go through universities to talk to them, or those nonprofit organizations is the best place to search to find them?
It is kind of, I think, the world's best question for our industry right now is rising talent. How do we not only retain talent, but how do we make sure that our talent is prepped and ready for what we're required? And we are kind of a feet by the fire industry of you either sink or you swim, and there's not a lot of ways to teach you how to think 14 different things that could come at you at an event, and how to make sure that you're prepping for everything for a client, and how to have charm and sparkle when you're talking to people, and making sure that they're buying into you just as much as they're buying into the company or the brand, which is what we're really seeing now. And I think that is kind of where I've focused on this, is what does that training look like, and where do we really actually like help our people have empowerment versus kind of being a number. And I think that's where I found such a great level of passion for the industry, was because I was really empowered by our ownership to kind of make my path and to make my brand essentially. And now it's cool to be able to empower others, but it is something that's a hard road when you're so green. So where do you use your voice? Where is your voice best heard? And how do you grow and empower others around you?
Yeah, there is a lot of autonomy. The possibilities of autonomy, it's a lot in the industry, but still the person needs to have the responsibility and know how to deliver, right? Like,
yes.
If they have the autonomy but doesn't know how to do the things, and especially on events, really bad things can happen. Right?
Yep. And we still rank as the top 10 most stressful jobs next to like firefighters and people who are saving people's lives. And you're off like, oh, I'm planning really crazy events. Like, one thing goes wrong, it's really bad. But in our world, things go wrong all the time. It's just how you solutionize it. It's just how you're ready for them. It's just how you're prepared, how your team is prepared, and how our clients trust us, right? And that's, I think, why we've become so successful as a company, is because we've really built a lot of trust with our clients, and our clients understand and they see what our vision is, and we're coming on board so that we can help them build their vision with our expertise and our creativity.
Perfect. Yeah. So when we think about successful events, what are the key elements of the strategy? Is it the planning moment? It is the actual production? What are the key elements you cannot miss during the when you're planning, when you're strategizing one event?
There's a lot we said about the logistics to me, and understanding how to create within the bounds of making sure something can actually work. So that's, I think, that our question is like, oh, great, let's think about the craziest stuff you can imagine, and let's figure out how to make it work. And I think, coming from a destination management level background, but also now looking at, agencies and where do we go as a company, where do we grow and innovate? It is really neat to see like how we can kind of create those bounds, but still also push them at the same time, because we answer to our clients. We want to make sure that what we're selling you is not a nightmare come down the road, because we also have to be perfect. We have to make sure that the people that are attending your events are going to walk away and be like, man, I never thought I would experience something like that, or a city like that. That's where we really come into play, is how we elevate those experiences, but also make sure that they are 100% wrapped up in plan B, C, and D, because we all know that those things are going to happen.
Is there one particular story that for you was a big challenge? Like you had the idea, you say like, let me try this idea, but you didn't know that we're gonna work, or opposite, like when the customer tell you, I needed to do this crazy thing, and said, no, that's not gonna.
So I'm really obsessed with this idea of projection mapping on ping pong balls in a pool. And this just happened because I was like, okay, let's think through like how this works. Grand idea. It's really cool idea to think of how we can press the bounds of creativity and something so unique about technology and innovation. And then we decide, like I may not have been the best person at math in my career, or in school. And we had some experts come on and diagram and look at it, like how deep is the pool? What's the design of the pool? How do we hang projectors? Like so many things that go along with video mapping. And then when they came back, we're like, we need 24,376 spheres to go in the pool. I was like, well, that was a really fun pipe dream, but that's probably not going to work. So now we need to pivot and figure out what else can we do that's still as exciting and new, but maybe this is the right project for that. So you do have to think all the way through, because you don't want to also be like, okay, yeah, I can do that 100%, and then are like, oops, I can't, right? Like that's like $100,000. Like you have that budget.
Yeah.
So it's also
either the budget or the time.
I mean, that's labor. Logistics. How much time do we have at the venue? How great are our partners, and like how flexible are they? Are they wanting to do this? Or are they just like, no, we don't want to do that. We're going to make it hard for you, right? So you also have to know where your bounds of partnership lie with all of your different people who are working on the project.
Yeah, and this is one of the beauty and maybe not so good thing about events, but it's a project, what is the deadline of the project, right? Some projects, sometimes you can postpone the deadline forever, but for events, no, since you book the venue, you book that date.
Yep.
The event has to come, has to go. So this pressure also is good, right? It's good because you need to come with a solution.
Yes. Yeah. And I think we're all a little crazy because we live off the pressure. Like, I think we're all the people that were like, okay, let's give ourselves, like, we have a 3-week deadline, but let's give ourselves 2 days. We like the pressure, and we are really good at that. Or I think as an industry, we're learning that we can't always play that game, because one, we're short on staff. 2, we have less pounds. 3, we've come back and we want to dream and create, but now things are a lot more expensive. So there's some of those boundaries that we're looking at, and like, how do we still do our best job, but with better expectations of clients, of partners, of ourselves, and being okay with sometimes we have to take a step back and say, actually, that probably isn't the best plan for all of us. Let's pivot and do this. So let's change into this instead.
Yeah, and talking about all this responsibility and pressure, how do you do that with your life balance? So how is it for you to go on vacation, go on PTO? You don't work on weekends. What are your must, like, boundaries? I'm not gonna go over.
Whatever you just said is a really lovely dream for all of us. I think, and it is the question, though. I think, especially with those that are coming back from pandemic, right? Our minds have completely been shifted or changed to the fact that we were these crazy extroverted beasts that were like constantly around people in these big crowds, very normalized. And then our normalization shifted with COVID, where we were hanging out with our 1 or 2 other people of that for a year. And so now I think our level of comfort and a level of excitability or being in those larger groups or meetings has shifted a little bit. I think as we plan some of those things, we're looking at what that looks like, but also on vacations and things, and trying to take time off. We need it. It's necessary. The burnout we're seeing is massive right now. It's hard to combat when, again, we're just trying to get our newest team members up to speed and people in the door, and edges of people when people are deciding that this is not the right fit. But it's really important, I would have to say, for my elevation of career, is to be able to take that time and to go experience the world and to have culture and food experiences that we can integrate into the events. So I use vacation as sometimes work, because I'm looking at it from the eyes of a potential client, where I could go back and take elements or aspects of certain things and bring them back to any of our destinations, and have our sales team or our accounts team be able to produce them as well. So
nice. Perfect. And about like this whole aspect of risks, right? How do you manage risk? What are any safety concerns that you have today that you didn't have before pandemic? It's just about the uh, any virus in the middle of the audience. Is there more than that we to look today that is really important for risk management and safety of your audience?
I think risk management's always been something that large scale events or events have to think about. I mean, even before COVID, there's just lots in your world that is sad that we have to be concerned about or care about or worry about. But those are the things that I think when you put together your teams, you put together a team of experts, those are things that should be talked about and should be gone over, right? What is the emergency evacuation plan? What happens if there's a hurricane, which we experienced in Florida? What happens if, right, like there is potentially active shooter situations, things like that that are far beyond even COVID, and we were able to jump in and do testing and kind of make sure that we were on the safest grounds we could be for meeting in person. But there's always going to be things that we have to have plan B, plan C solutions for. And I think that really is making sure that you're having those discussions with all of the partners involved in things, from hotels to venues to catering to whoever it is that can potentially mitigate some of those risks.
Any particular innovative solution that you found? There are some ones that are very simple, right? Such as the wristband that you can use, saying like, I want to keep distance, right, with different colors. Is there any other innovation that you found very easy to implement and and people really like they implement that, right? They don't, because it's hard when you bring an innovation and people, they don't want to try, they don't want to use. There's no really a good element too with the audience.
Right after that, I think the bands were the easiest way to determine how people were feeling comfortable. Now I think it's kind of shifted back towards, I think everyone's fairly comfortable with it. And those that are able to wear masks, there's still options for who may not be ready. There's still virtual opportunities, there's things like that. But in the majority of things, we've seen everyone kind of come back to, I hate the normal, I come back to like being able to be in person and still knowing the risks that occur. But I think the teams are ready to accommodate whatever the requests are at the last minute, or essentially to make sure that everybody stays safe and is enjoying a really well thought out event.
Perfect. And what are the impacts of some tools like ChatGPT? Is it something that you have implemented on your team to use across, I don't know, maybe content strategy or planning? Also, like maybe ChatGPT can review your plans for a specific event.
So one of our owners is very, very involved with ChatGPT. He'd be very excited to talk about this. I have a little bit of view into it. It hasn't, I think, fully hit for what it can offer. We're watching it as an industry, and I think it's a cool new technology that's going to really change the face of communications. And so I think it will be involved in our organization / industry pretty soon, I would say within this year. But it's still understanding how it works, how the technologies work. And then for us, a lot of it is, aside from ChatGPT, all of the different technologies when, we're kind of still working off of Excel sheets and line Word documents. So how does some of those newer technologies shift our efficiencies and make things easier for our team as a whole?
Nice. Yeah. Our product team, Mauricio, is here with us today. He could talk a little bit about how he implemented, the team implemented ChatGPT through InEvent platform. So it's pretty cool. Some customers say, oh, I want to have those ideas. Just send email messages, and especially for communication, I think it's very efficient.
Yes.
To send RSVP messages or notifications.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
We're very excited.
Nice. And so regarding those challenges, we talk about the talents. It's one big challenge. Another one is sustainability, right? Sustainability is something that it's very important for the events industry. Is there any particular innovation you are seeing in terms of how to utilize the venue, how to utilize your resource on one particular event and reutilize it for other events. Any things in sustainability that really help you to plan your events, to think strategically?
I mean, so much of our planning now is digital, right? Gone away are the days of massive notebooks, paper, and things like that we're having to track on grids. So a lot of that is helping with the technology of just having an iPad or something like that instead of having to for us, like logistical books. We know what's going on with our clients. A lot of co-working, right, within digital communications as well has really helped. So we're not, printing things and doing that. Sustainability on an event side too, I think, is also knowing your partners and having those conversations with them. And a lot of our hotels, specifically here in Las Vegas, are very focused on sustainability, recycling food scraps. Where does it go? Can it be donated? Is that possible? Food leftovers. So thinking through things from a holistic level is actually also helpful for us as coming in as, we're typically coming in as like a fun activity, but we also have a lot of strategic elements about us that can help event planners plan from a 30,000 foot level to be able to talk more about, hey, let's utilize these menu placards multiple times instead of printing paper menus, or let's look at digital menus or QR codes, right? Things that people are now used to because of the restaurant industry being able to pull up on their phone, and then have you take that one step further and have them interact with certain foods or things based off of QR codes, things like that. So making it all an experience, even though we're still focused on sustainability, it can still be fun around like elements of activations and things like that. So I think it is coming in a little earlier and understanding the event as a whole to be able to say like, hey, okay, great. We know you're doing all these things. How can we help and make sure that it's more, less on the environment, more sustainable for you? And then how do we look at it from a year-long thing? And if you want to create a whole campaign, how do we look on it from that side and make sure that every event there's sustainable aspects? So you can go back to shareholders or event people and say, this is what we've done this year. This is how many trees we've saved or how many kits we've given to the home, whatever it could be that we can tie that to sustainability and corporate responsibility.
Nice, great. And maybe to wrap up our conversation, tell me a little bit about how do you find new ideas? Is there any particular water that you like to drink more that bring you more ideas, insights? So you also mentioned when you are traveling for vacation, right? Also, it's a very good moment to get out of your kind of comfort zone and see new things. How is it for you to really get new ideas? Because this is something that you need to have, right? Like all the time.
Yes. I'm a huge traveler. It's my favorite thing to do. I would be gone all the time if somebody paid me to travel.
What was the last location?
The last place we were, my husband and I like to take cruises, so that's kind of our jam. We went through Mexico the last time, but we just booked another trip through Italy, Croatia, Nice, and Dane, I think in Spain. So we have lots of loves, but for sure travel is one of mine because I think being able to experience things is so cool on that level. And then how do you bring those experiences back and let guests create let guests experience them on an event level, and how do we elevate those to make sure people are like, wow, I would have never been able to do this, especially in this destination, if I had just come here on my own.
Yeah, and especially like those different countries, right? It brings so much cultural elements that you can implement also here, right? I think people here, they always love to see elements from different culture and combine with the American culture. I think this is a great benefit of everything.
Yep.
So cool. All right. So anything else you would like to share today with our audience regarding innovations for the event industry, sustainability, how to pull more talent, create a pool of more talents? What are your main thought today that you could share?
I don't think I have anything else. Like, I feel like we covered a lot of fun, great topics. Always worth conversations. I've even said it with as I've grown in my career and now are in a different level compared to where I was. Your thought processes and your thinking changes a little bit to the full company instead of more like direct vision on Las Vegas and what it has been. And I think that growth alone is so cool, and being able to be out and talking with people about the industry and about our cities and about where we are today as just a whole, I think it's just so cool. And so many cool things come up from it. So I would say to anyone, go take someone to coffee, have a conversation who's in the industry, because you just never know where that leads, and you never know out of conversations what comes and assists the industry.
Yeah, I feel this is a great aspect. Everyone is really open to have an open conversation about our past, about our future, the things we are doing right now, and we can definitely collaborate. I think collaboration,
Yes,
it's really important for everyone in this industry, that we can work together, we can bring ideas together, and we can definitely deliver whatever is the idea the customer has. We can do it.
yes,
We can find a way,
yep,
a specific budget,
yes.
time, and everything.
There's always a way. Yeah.
But
Awesome.
yeah, thank you so much for your time. I
Thank
hope
you.
many of you also like that, and comment, share your thoughts. Thank you so much.